So let's clear up the book that I have with me here.
What's next?
First off, overrides. Because I will definitely forget them. Oh. Yeah, I haven't fought... Yeah. I fought like 2 Dreadwings. This I kinda wanna get because I wanna know if I can ride a snake. That would be hacking awesome. In general, in theory I should just stop and see what I can do with those overwritten machines.
Aloy, may we speak?
Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestors, but Gaia? Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, late CO. And there's more ancestors out there, returned from beyond the stars. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus, and...
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you an explanation for everything that happened at Landfall.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes. I'm listening.
Right. I'll start at the beginning with the CO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help the tribe, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted Faro, whom we consider the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Faro, revered ancestor. That's tough to take.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Faro spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threatened our people. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named CO, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire, the living embodiment of Ted Faro.
Oh god. So I was right on the money. It was not just a self-imposed title from a CEO. Oh god, it's so much worse. Brian, I was just spot on the money, eh?
A renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous than you thought it would be. What happened?
We lost most of our ships to hurricanes, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger and disease. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes and the greenhouse, but nothing improved the CO's mood as his dreams of saving the tribe were slowly dashed. He became more and more obsessed with Thebes and what lay behind its door, and more convinced that the title of CEO was no mere honorific. You heard him, spouting nonsense about Pharaoh's essence and some kind of becoming. We knew these weren't the words of a sane man, but he was quick to put any who spoke out in front of a firing squad.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy. I can see that now. But what the CO became was a complete perversion of what principal diviners stand for. The pursuit of truth. I'm sorry you had to endure his madness. I'm just glad it's over. For everyone.
I still really want that conversation about World's End. Web.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CEO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for data in the legacy that I uncovered. The best thing I can say about him is that he can be trusted to always do what's best for him.
Yep, sounds about right. Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy, and many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
The ancestors, is that what your people call the old ones?
Yes and no. The ancestors are the greatest of the old ones. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, medicine, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CEO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant. What's that about?
Right. Well, any old one who has made minor contributions or worked extensively under one of the ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed our view of the past.
You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners, peasants.
To be fair though, technically she wasn't above Pharaoh. Since, if we remember that conversation they had about he wanting her to save the world from his mistake, in the conversation where she pressured him into submission because either she's gonna tell the world just how much he fucked up, or he's gonna be the guy that empties his bank account to make Zero Dawn happening. So he emptied his bank account and still was in the highest position of power. Like, how else even would he be able to make the Omega clearance even? You know? It's... yeah. But he wasn't the driving force behind saving the world. He was pretty much absent for that. Yeah. And not even that. There were reports where he was, looking in, learning what the guys are up to and stuff.
Really? When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone, not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
Like the focuses we keep, diviners are few in number, and the Empire is...
And the escort by the overseer is necessary because in the presence of your family you can be emotional and accidentally present information you are supposed not to leak in those forbidden knowledges. So someone who basically would be able to execute you on the spot is present. In order from that to preventing. And don't forget that, she hasn't talked grim about it, so there are not many horror stories. It's just a precautionary thing. Like, when you're about to slip, you get a staring from the overseer and probably stop that train of thought. So the extreme doesn't necessarily need to be necessary.
well, fearful that outsiders will try to steal our knowledge. Last time I was allowed to see my family was just before our voyage here. Because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods within the capital. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't come to that. I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
Yeah, we are. I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
You mentioned Eric Visser? How do you know about him?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protector. Combing through data related to his work led us to breakthroughs related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers used to conquer and expand, to become the empire we are today. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever imagined. Yet another distorted interpretation in a legacy.
Well,
Not really. You never know what is 300, 600 years in space with only the same faces will do to you. You know? You become more narcissistic and stuff.
you're piecing together the truth.
If only the overseers back home would do the same.
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind, the diviners haven't recovered.
I need to get going, but if you need anything...
All I need is to help you succeed in your mission. The plan Gaia told me about, to capture Hephaestus, it will help set things right.
I hope so.
Then I will do whatever I can. I promise.